What up? What up? It's Tuesday. Tell them we going up on a Tuesday. Welcome to the Platform Sports Talk Show. It's your girl Bunny, and it is Ladies' Night, and I'm feeling right. Let them know if you want to know who I'm speaking with. In honor of Mother's Day, we want to give a shout out to all the mommies and aunties and grandmas and anybody else who helped motherly roles in wonderful babies' lives like this little one. Say hi. Thank you all for tuning in. Platform Sports Talk Show. It's your girl Bunny, and we have a wonderful, wonderful lineup. Great topics we're going to talk about. For everyone that is tuning in, make sure you are tuning in live on Facebook. And if you are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and click on that good old bell. And also, all our archive shows are on the Roku channel. And on Wednesday evenings, we are also streaming on Hot 365 Radio. Shout out to them. So, also, we have not just Ladies' Night the first Wednesday of the month, minus today, it's on a Tuesday. But the last Wednesdays of the month, we have the Man Cave. Shout out to the fellas. They hold it down. Great topics they talk about, good roundtable discussions. And of course, if it's not the first Wednesday of the month or the last Wednesday of the month, it's the regular Platform Sports Talk Show. And you got Smoooth on there. We got Stan on there. We got Jobo, me, T-Bone, and anybody else that coming through. So, again, tune in. Platform Sports Talk Show. Archive shows on Roku. Hit us up live on Facebook. Make sure you leave all the comments under the Platform Sports Talk Show. And catch us live on every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. Excluding today, we're doing a special Ladies' Night on Tuesday. So without further ado, let's bring the other ladies. Of course, we got our world-renowned specialists from everything hockey, everything St. Louis Cardinals, baseball, and MLB in between, plus a little bit of motherly love as well. The one and the only, but about tell them who's coming to the stage. Jobo!
Hi.
She's happy for you.
She's not fussy tonight. She looks
No,
happy.
because tell them I got my two bottom teeth coming in. They're almost there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. It's weird. It's gonna throw me off for the rest of the week, probably. But we're gonna make it work. So happy Tuesday. Hope everyone's having a good start to the week, and happy early Mother's Day to all the moms and aunts and every woman, like you said, that has taken any type of motherly role in their lives.
You got it. And next we got, unfortunately, there's a Dallas Cowboy fan out there that has to be the one that always wants to say her Pittsburgh Penguins. Lord, Pittsburgh Penguins. Well, them too. But Pittsburgh Pirates is our other team. I'm like, okay, she get a double win for favorite teams. Here nor there. Live all the way from warm, sunny Florida, the one and only Miss Annie. Say yay.
Hey.
Say hey, girl, hey.
You got one more show to have the Cowboys live rent-free in your head. So,
hey, Butterball, tell them no rent-free in this head because
you always we got basketball playoffs, we got hockey playoffs.
I said your favorite teams. I mentioned your teams. She knows. Tell them I said her favorite teams. I didn't say good teams. Now there's a difference.
Yeah, you just always start with the Cowboys, and that ain't got
That's your claim to fame.
Is it though, or is it just what lives rent free in your head?
Oh, that's a claim to fame. Yeah, you agree. Yeah.
Well, you got this show and maybe one more in June. So,
and you leaving us for good, or you just can't join us consistently?
Nope, for good.
Oh. See, Joe Bo's mom's gonna be really hurt because she said we talk a lot.
Well, she'll get to hear her baby girl talk more often.
So we're gonna have to try to have Shareed on for your last one then, so that you guys can do your weird John Cena stuff and whatever that song is that you guys like so much.
Oh, you can play that all the time. You don't need me here for that. Anytime's a good time for the Froggy Fresh Christmas.
But it's you and Sharita. That's what I think of. So
yeah, I can do one last Froggy Fresh Christmas in July or June.
Not a Froggy Fresh Christmas.
Funny. Was I gonna say? I keep forgetting that you're also like Penguins. Like we always talk about the Pirates, but still.
Right, that's why I messed it up because I said Penguins. I was like, wait, she didn't really say Pirates is horrible, but Penguins are good.
Yeah, so I just gotta let the people know now. So, I mean, we got the NBA playoffs on, we got the NHL playoffs on. So y'all have about 65% of my attention right now. You'll see I've got the NBA game side by side on the laptop on my other screen. I've got the Penguins and Rangers up. So that's why I only put my earring on the one side, because y'all don't see a whole lot of profile while I'm watching hockey. So just make sure if I'm not tuning in, y'all just say my name real quick, and then I'll come back and figure out what we talking about. So.
I got you.
Well, we do have through all kinds of games right now.
I know, right? It's actually for Tuesday night. It's popping. You did mention NBA playoff. We have that. We have NHL playoff game. Man, you that excited, huh? You really that excited? We also have the Cardinals just started their opening pitch against KC. I mean, it's on the popping. So we're gonna make the best of this. We got a lot of good topics. We'll have another special guest coming on momentarily. So without further ado, let's get this ladies' night ready to roll. That's a hype girl. Yeah, so let's start off with the NFL draft. And Annie, I know you can speak on this though. Did you pay attention to see like who was something worth talking about or something? Let's talk about your team. I'll give y'all a chance to say you like who y'all drafted. You know, nobody to back up Dak Prescott and what's your running back name? Nothing to write home about with the draft.
We already have a backup for Zeke who was actually better in most game situations other than I think third down production than Zeke last year. So there was no need to draft a backup for him. But no, we drafted a bunch of people I didn't even know. I found out about universities that I didn't even know were universities from our third pick in the draft. So if anything, it was a learning experience. I got introduced to some new people and some new schools because we tripping. So
Okay. I hear you.
That was our draft.
All right. Well, at least you learned something new. How about that? Always learn something new.
It was a learning experience.
All right. Well, so we can go ahead and add our wonderful next person on the screen here. She is a basketball player, sportscaster, and wait a minute. Let me not spoil it. I'll let the video show what she's just known to be doing now. Roll it. And the person I'm talking about is on the right in that nice, pretty cream dress.
I was just about to ask, which one are we looking at? And is someone about to fall off the stage?
The one that's with the St. Louis across her beautiful chest. And the one who's about to get crowned, that's none other than our great panelist, Mikala McGhee. Come on, hot girl. Say yay! Come on, clap it up for her. Yay! She's clapping it up for you with the knuckles.
Hello, everyone.
Just look at that video. Does it have you getting emotional again? Like, that's amazing.
I'm sorry, Bunny. What you say? It was kind of cutting out.
I said, just looking at this video clip right now, does that get you emotional again? Like, that's just amazing what you did.
My gosh, every time I watch it, And it's still so fresh because it just happened on Sunday. So it's been absolutely crazy. And for those of you who didn't know what that even was, I competed in Miss Missouri USA this past weekend. It's my first beauty pageant that I've ever competed in, and I ended up taking the crown home. I was representing our community of St. Louis, so it was just extra special to me. And yeah, watching that video back, it brings back all the vibes, all the feels. I've been getting so much love and people calling me and texting me. I've been trying to get back to everybody, but it's just been a serious outpouring of love and support.
That's awesome. You looked great. Like, I wish I looked like that. Not gonna lie.
I don't know if I'm still muted. I tried to say something last time.
I was look a little busted today because I'm running off of like 3 hours of sleep. So I'm gonna give you guys the best of what I got, but don't get mad at me if I'm a little out of it.
What were you saying, Annie?
Oh, I was asking if I was still muted because I had something pop up telling me that the host muted me. So I didn't know if I was still talking or not. But I was just saying, when you said to your comment, Joe, all I saw was Mikala walking across the stage just serving leg. Mm-hmm. Just serving, sis. Get them.
Yes.
And that was your first one? That's ridiculous. Like, you just came in, all these people who've been doing this since toddlers and tiaras, and you was just like, give me that.
You know what? It was already written, is what I like to tell myself. So but the biggest reason, and I know, we're going to get to the sports, everybody, but since we just played the video, we can take a second just to say it.
Come on, go ahead.
For those of you who don't really know me, I'll just give you a little bit of background. So I have been in athletics my entire life. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. I played soccer, basketball, and softball. And then I went on to play Division I basketball for 5 years, then came back here to St. Louis, played professionally with the St. Louis Surge, was lucky enough to be able to nail a anchor and reporter job at Fox 2 here in St. Louis. And if anybody watches, you guys know that I do our Prep Zone show, and I've been, anchoring some of our main sports shows here recently. So heavy into sports. So I never imagined myself getting into pageants. That's never what I thought my destiny or what my plan would be in my life. But, as we get older and things change, our passions change, and definitely sometimes our journey takes a turn, but something was on my heart. I did a lot of prayer over it, and God led me to that opportunity. And there was something really inside of me that was like, go for it, go for it, go for it. So I just listened to my intuition, and I busted my butt for months, was, in the gym. I got with the coach. I just tried to learn all things pageants because, of course, I knew nothing. So I was learning everything from scratch, but it was on my heart, and I just, stayed true to myself and what I wanted to represent, which was St. Louis and all of its beautiful forms and unique people and just all the fire and zest and spirit that our community brings. And I feel like I brought it to the stage, and we got the crown, baby.
So I was going to ask, I guess you kind of talked about it a little bit, but what made you want to do this, out of nowhere?
Yeah. So literally, I think all of us grow up and we hear about pageants, right? I think everybody knows about the Miss USA system. It's televised each and every single year. But I ended up meeting the previous reigning Miss Missouri USA, Joy Forrest, who is an absolute joy. Like, she lives up to her name. And we started following. I met her at a NASCAR event at the Bommarito 500, ironically. But I started following her on social media. We followed each other, and I saw her post the application that they were accepting applications for this year's pageant. And, I thought about it. When I saw it, I sat back. I was like, why is this so heavy on my heart? Like, I was going to bed, waking up, thinking about it. I was like, what is going on? Like, why do I care so much? So I finally clicked on the link and read through it. And I saw that it was my last year of eligibility to compete. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and apply. And if they don't accept me, then, okay, like moving on with my life. But if they do, who knows? Like you never know until you try. So I applied and I got the call back pretty quick.
That's awesome.
So when you said this was your last year of eligibility, what's the rules or what makes it the last year?
So to compete in Miss USA, a Miss USA state pageant, you have to be between 18 and 28 years old. And I just turned 28 in January. So 1994 is the cutoff year. So I was just, 17 days away from not being able to compete. But look at God.
So is there like a next stage that you'd be able to go on to? Like, I don't know, is it a competition? I'm not a girly girl. I don't know this stuff. I know what pageant is, and like you said, I've seen it on TV, but I have no idea what the heck is going on.
No, this is trust and believe, it's a whole new world for me as well. So don't feel any type of way. But now that I have won Miss Missouri USA, I will start preparing for Miss USA. And then that's where I will go up against all the other contestants from each and every single state and the District of Columbia. So it will be 51 girls competing in this year's Miss USA competition. And we don't know exactly when that competition is. They are telling us it could be as early as the end of summer, or it could be as late as October. So I'm kind of hoping for October so I can get a little bit more time, to get prepared and get ready. But whenever they put that date out, it's game on.
Let this shared all over the place. And I'm pretty positive I follow you on Twitter now. So share it all over. Is this going to be like, I'm sure it'll be on TV, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's televised each and every single year on cable TV. I'm pretty sure it's Fox. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's who they've been with. But as soon as I get the information, I will be pushing it out on all media. So you guys feel free. Follow me on Twitter. My personal one is just Mikala McGhee, my name. I'm really Mikala McGhee on every single social media platform. It's just my name. So feel free to find me. And then if you want to follow me with my pageant stuff, it's Miss Missouri, Miss MOUSA, Miss MOUSA. And that's on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'm going to try to get on TikTok. I feel like I'm a little too old for it, but I'm going to figure it out.
What? I'm not on TikTok, but I know plenty of older people that's on there, from following people loading videos to doing the home and garden stuff to stuff in the kitchen.
Right.
There's so much stuff on there, but I'm not on there though.
But that's true. And you know what? Fun fact, you learn so much on TikTok. It's amazing that you can learn on TikTok.
I've been learning how to cook some I don't know, like healthier meals and stuff on TikTok. I'm like,
okay. I know, like with the pandemic hit, it got more people on there. People think it was all about dancing, but then I found out through my teenage niece, it's so much other stuff on there. Like it's not just a dancing part. So
right.
Yeah.
For everyone's sake, I'll stay away from the little dancing TikTok videos. All right.
Okay.
Why don't we get back to the NFL draft? Annie, you were going in. You were letting us know a little something.
Oh,
and she gone.
Right.
I was just saying that I didn't learn that it was affirmed for year number 20 that Jerry Jones is a terrible GM.
Oh.
And he ain't teaching his son to be any better, since I know that Steven gets in on it. And that I don't think that we met any of our most pressing needs, and that we drafted players I hadn't even heard of. And that for our third pick, I learned that Alabama State is a school.
HBCU, baby, out of Montgomery, Alabama.
I never knew. I had to Google it and then ask if it. But so not only did I Google it, and then I was like, "Is Alabama State?" And Google was like, Division I ? And I'm like, "See, Google, you knew what I was about to ask, because don't nobody know."
Because not one but 2 Chainz. That's his alma mater.
Okay, I don't know who.
2 Chainz?
Oh, okay, that's a rap guy, right?
A rap guy.
That's not my alma mater, but it's just in HBCU family, you're trying to know everybody, whether big or small, and then represent people, because not that many famous ones come from it, like as promoted. Hey, man.
No. It wasn't Alabama State. I was about to say there were only 4 players from the HBCU drafted, and they didn't go until day 3, and we took this dude on day 2. So no, it was South Alabama, not Alabama State. South Alabama. I didn't know that was the school. So I just thought they had Alabama. I didn't know they also had a South Alabama, and it is D1. So
there's a bunch of Alabama schools. That's just the bare tip of the iceberg.
I mean, I need them to do something with their K through 12 system. Aren't they ranked like 46 to 50 before you start putting all these colleges in there?
Other U.S. states they are, but I mean,
they're like 46 out of 50. So I need you to focus on K through 12 before we start building colleges don't nobody know about. So,
but it gives everybody opportunity. Everybody to go to the big schools. So you got those small schools. I mean, Missouri, Mississippi, Michigan, every state has small schools nobody heard of, especially for D1 level. When it comes to March Madness every year, if you ever pay attention to the ticker for the score, you will always find schools you never heard of and didn't realize they're D1. Like where Steph Curry went to school in Davidson, I didn't know about them until he was playing for them for March Madness. But this other school, like John Morant, another one. Some people may have heard of Murray State. They're D1, but most people haven't because they're not the blue blood. But they're out there, and that's in Kentucky. Everybody thinks that, University of Kentucky is like the only school in Kentucky State, the HBCU there. It's just if you not all in sports, but sometimes you hear a school, you're like, what? That's a school? It is. But hey. Anyway, so anybody else still up to the draft for you all?
Well, going back to the point you guys were just talking about with schools, the NIL deals are really changing the game with recruiting in general, and especially when it's going to be start coming to football and then the bigger basketball schools. So I think kids are going to be starting to look where they can, I mean, they already kind of were under the table, but a lot of these student athletes are going to start going to where they can make money in school, even probably more so than going to a place where they feel like they could win a championship. Because if they can start making money and they can get that foundation while still being a student, I mean, this whole thing is going to change the game.
And I think it's really exciting. I don't know if you all have been keeping up with the NIL stuff and everything that's happened. And what's her name? Aaliyah Boston just got a new endorsement deal that she never would have been able to get before had the NIL rules not changed. During the draft, a number of draft prospects were on one of those Sleep Number bag commercials. That's something that they still would not have been eligible for until after they inked their contracts. There was a student here who played basketball. I think he played for the Gators, University of Florida, who threatened to leave to enter the transfer portal. I think the Thursday or Friday before it was set to close, which happened yesterday. If they didn't increase his NIL money, and he has an agent, so his agent leaked that they had those conversations. He ultimately decided to stay at the school. But I just thought that was a powerful move, just like we see with professional athletes, where he was like, if you do not pay me more, then I will enter the transfer portal and I will go to somewhere else where I have a higher earning potential. And the reason why it doesn't bother me is that I have never heard of this kid before now. I've never heard anybody talk about him as a potential NBA prospect. And so his eligibility for the NCAA is probably the best opportunity he has to leverage basketball in terms of his career earning potential. And I ain't mad at it. Speaking of NIL collectives, I mean, it was just announced that I forget who it was, former coach of Oklahoma, just formed a collective. And it's just like, okay, but they already have NIL collectives at the big programs. They're called boosters. And so they're just bringing what was done in the dark to light with these NIL collectives. And I'm not mad at it. We used to see those commercials. I don't think they run them anymore, but during like they used to be really popular through like March Madness, where it was like most of our student athletes will go pro in something other than basketball. And so it's like, okay, so then this is the only opportunity that they have to monetize this particular skill.
Right.
And to just have some like rich, powerful people decide for no reason other than they want to keep the money to themselves that they can't monetize that, even though every other college student can monetize their skills. It was about time for that to go. I'm excited to see all the kids getting their money and leveraging what may be their only opportunity to make generational wealth off of a talent that they have.
Right.
I agree, because I never had an issue with them with the NIL, and you may have heard when sportscasters and some coaches speak out against it. And it's funny that you can speak out against it, but when it was not legal to accept gifts, payments, make money off your name, how many times did you hear publicly? Maybe they did it privately, I don't know, but I never heard any coaches publicly give back their $1 million contracts or $1 million salaries or donate some of that to their players. Nobody did that. I've never heard the university say, hey, you guys have helped our school be so renowned and made all these millions. When you guys graduated and not an NCAA student anymore, let me give you some money. I never read or heard that. Maybe it's happened. Who knows? I seriously doubt it. So the whole thing of NIL, I agree. I know it's going to always be something where somebody's going to find a loophole and exploit it for something bad, but that could be with anything. In general, parents, mothers and fathers name their kids when they're born, when at this age, they have the right to make money off of it instead of saying no. Like, I just never understood that it's a birthright of a name and you saying I can't make money off of it. I don't care. It's not just for the blue blood schools and not for just the popular sports. Like I mentioned, divers, people on a swim team. I mean, anybody should be able to do it. If another college student is in college and they're working at a fast food chain or a restaurant, you saying they can't do that because they're on scholarship at a school for academics? No. So why is it for athletes is any different? I just said it just make the playing field equal. That's all. Let them earn money. Let them earn some of the money they help making these universities millions of dollars for.
Well, it was just announced today that college leaders are planning to crack down on those NIL collectives. And I think in respect, I feel like coaches and players have for so long been battling that power balance between the NCAA and then what they are really allowed to do and how they can leverage that. But there does have to be some type of restraint or constraint, because at the end of the day, these are still college students. And I was a college athlete, so don't get me wrong. I am not against these students wanting to make money off their name, their likeness, their talent. They have that right. But when does all that take away from the game, the sport? Because this year, this is the most athletes we have ever seen in the transfer portal in multiple sports. So when does the integrity of the game and the integrity of your college decision come into play over, how much money you could potentially go make? Because not every single player is going to be making the same thing, and that's just a fact.
But at the same time, you said when is the integrity of it? When the boosters didn't start giving money to players decades ago. Like we just said earlier, this has brought things that was going on already behind closed doors into the light. Now it exacerbated some more, and yet the transfer portal is popping. But again, you have a right. If you're not an athlete, I could transfer to another school and don't have to sit out a semester, or you may take away some classes if the credits don't transfer. But as far as my being able to transfer and be able to, enroll, I don't have to sit out a semester. So an athlete would have. I mean, I know it's competition wise, so you try to put some of these rules in place. But to me, some of them were archaic, and other ones is like it just seems like you just it hurts more certain demographic, and it hurts certain people in certain sports. And overall, Brett always makes fun of me because when I talk about the NCAA, it always gets to me. It makes me because I feel like they're a cartel. They had too much control, too much power over people's lives.
Yeah.
College, everybody's not going to know. You're learning. I mean, we were all in college at one time. We learned, made mistakes. But again, it shouldn't be to where one mistake and then that's it. If I went to the draft, didn't make it 5 years ago, I could not come back on a scholarship. So now I'm sitting there like I can't afford college. I got to sit there and do a dead end job off of one mistake. Like that was crazy to me.
Right. And I do like that they implemented that rule that where athletes can come back, that decision doesn't end up working out for them. But again, I don't know, for someone, and maybe I'm just hating because I wasn't there at the time when you could get paid or whatever. Who really knows? But I just think for some reason, this transfer portal is going to start hurting a lot more athletes than it is going to help. And that's what I fear for. We've already are witnessing it and seeing it, how it's hurting high schoolers from getting recruited because, what college coach, why would they take a chance on a high schooler who has no college experience, none of that depth, then when they could just go get somebody who's already been playing and has the experience, who they know who can handle the college atmosphere, who can do all of that. So we see how it's already starting to hurt recruitment from the high school level. And I just wonder how long the coaches are going to tolerate these players just wanting to hop around is all I'm saying. Because now I'm kind of starting to think of it from a leadership standpoint. Like, how long are you going to tolerate that?
But you know what? Two things. One, they do this now in high school. Now, of course, it's many more high schools than colleges, but this is going on, and it's been going on in high schools for years. I don't know if you knew that. And I'm not just talking about the St. Louis area, because I have family in other cities. But it's here in the St. Louis metro area. People hop around from high school and transfer. Yeah. A coach in general does want to keep the same players and have them as long as possible together because you build up the familiarity, the family, and the system. Hence why somebody like Nova and Gonzaga for basketball. Those are mid-major schools, yet they're in the March Madness and can go far every year. Why? Because they don't have one and dones on their squad. They usually have the player come back and the same player come back 2 or 3 years with them. And then they know the program. The old way how basketball was, like 80s, 90s, you had the pretty much same players for all 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. They in mid-major schools, they still get that. They don't have the one and done issue. So of course, a coach wants to keep the players as long as possible. Now, at the same time, the transfer portal, it's pros and cons to everything. I just said, let it be like it is now. High schools can transfer. They have to sit out a semester if it's currently in their at least in Missouri State High School Athletic Association. Mm-hmm. If you're transferring and your sport's about to come up, you do have to wait. But if it's not an upcoming sport, you're fine. Mm-hmm. And again, people transfer, and it ain't just for basketball. It's not just for football. They do it for baseball. They do it for hockey. They do it for lacrosse. These may not be getting the money makers of college advertisements and all that March Madness that we see, or the bowl games, but they do it there too. Mm-hmm. So I get what you're saying, Money McGhee, and at the same time, I just want it to be equal opportunity. That's all.
I agree. I think everybody wants that equal opportunity, and for sure, like you said, I want the best interest of the players, because that's what I wanted whenever I was playing. I just also want to still see the purity of our sports, and that's the sports fan in me coming out. But I get it. Hey, young bucks, get your money, get your bread, do what you got to do. And Bunny, it looks like T-Bone Funk over here is all on your side. He said people don't like the pawns in the game being able to play. Okay, we understand that. And then sports are just marketing for schools. We buy into the sport and integrity, but the main purpose is money.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say is, like, there's nothing about people being paid that takes away from integrity. Like, in my job, people don't tell me, well, if you really cared about diversity, equity, and inclusion at our university, you would do this for free. It's like, no, this is a transaction. I give you my knowledge, abilities, expertise, and skills, and you give me benefits and money. And so it's not that I do my work with less integrity because I'm getting paid for it, or that I would do it any better if I weren't being. I would probably be better at it if I were paid more, because then I wouldn't do other stuff that help to supplement my income or provide me with travel money. Like, they would probably get more of my attention and more of my investment. And so I do agree with T-Bone that I feel like people who have made millions and billions of dollars by leveraging and profiting from privilege, oppression, and exploitation now want to run sports items or sports teams as luxury items or playthings, but then cry that what we need is parity.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, they, like T-Bone said, they have us focused on what's going to ruin the integrity of the game is whether or not Terrell Pryor got a free tattoo for being the quarterback at Ohio State, and not that a coach had to be let go because he was allowing one of his staff members to beat the crap out of his wife on a daily basis, and they did nothing but invite him to dinner and ask him to stop. They made us believe that one of those could potentially impact the integrity of the game, and that the other one just kind of got swept under the rug and just revealed later.
Yeah.
To me, I just think, like T-Bone said, that they've got us, they're saying, hey, look over there, while having all this other stuff go in the background and getting people distracted by things that don't matter. To me, even if people make the wrong decision, I think people should have the freedom to make decisions. So if some kid hops around to 4 different schools, one a year for 4 years, and doesn't make it to the league, at least he had the freedom to do so.
Yeah.
Whereas other people will do things that are in their best interest. And then and I think this is another thing that they don't want, is that the NCAA is starting to experience competition, particularly around, in terms of like major sports, particularly around basketball. It hasn't quite happened in football. We haven't had any football pipelines that are a threat to like the NFL. But in terms of basketball, where you have the supplemental league that the G League came up with, that people can enter, males can enter directly after high school. You just have other pathways. The rookie of the year from last year, LaMelo Ball, didn't play a single day of NCAA basketball, was still, drafted highly, rookie of the year. And so I think what it forces people to do is it opens up opportunities for other people. And I think one of the reasons why people don't want it is not just because, or why the NCAA doesn't want it, is not because it threatens their bottom line financially, but also because of who is doing those things. A lot of these, additional leagues, a lot of these marketing companies are being run by people of color, particularly Black men. And I think that that's a threat to the financial model that people don't want. And so I'm just not here for people who leveraged every competitive advantage in their professional field, whether it was tech, real estate, Jerry Jones with oil, business, any of that type of stuff, right? There's no parity. You can't have the second best. Microsoft automatically gets the second best engineer because Apple outperformed them the first year, right? Apple can't get all the good engineers, so we're going to make sure that they get equally distributed. Like, no, that's not how that happens. So they make billions of dollars off of models that leverage against poverty, race, oppression, and privilege. And then they get a sports team and they're like, but we need equity, and we need salary caps, and we need no trade clauses, and we need transfer portal limits, and we need to crack down on their ability to get paid. And it's like, where was all this commitment to equity and fairness when you were making whatever billions you made to be a person who could afford a sports team?
Right.
So that's why I'm not here for it, because the people whose power structure and whose money it actually threatens are people who do not benefit from the very system that they're advocating for, which is this idea of parity and purity and all that other stuff. So that's why I'm not here for it.
Go off, sis.
She always break it down. And Andy, I'm not even going to disagree with anything you said for once. We're not going to go.
Let's make sure we get Joe in here, because I just talked for a lot, and I don't want Joe's mama coming for me. So Joe, tell your mama something.
I love you, Mom. There you go. You guys know that all this stuff is so confusing to me when it comes to college sports. And the only thing I ever hear, or if I ever talk about this NIL thing, is when I'm on, either the platform or on Ladies' Night. So yeah, that's, I don't understand it, college sports are completely different nowadays. I played a little bit of college softball, however many years ago, and it's completely different. So it's just way over my head. I'll watch it on TV, but that's that.
Well, I will say this real quickly. This just came in. So college football coaches, they propose a transfer window in a late fall or spring to help with roster management, right? They want 2 transfer windows for players to enter their names in the portal. And I can see that happening. It makes sense. And Joe Bo, you just mentioned that you kind of don't understand with this whole NIL thing. It is only basically what was going on behind closed doors, where players getting paid from different people, not just boosters. But that's all it is in a nutshell. Of course, it's more underlayer things, but in general, it's just what was going on behind closed doors is now legal. You won't get an infraction, and the school will have to get in trouble for now. I want to do a segue, ladies, regarding athletes, and we can go back to NCAA stuff, but with NBA. But real quickly, the NBA playoffs is going on right now. I don't know, Joe Boy, you don't watch it often, but that's okay. You know some of the names.
We can talk about my guy Tatum again, though. Yeah. I talked about him last week.
There you go.
So the first round, I guess.
He's in it. He's coming out of the East. The Boston Celtics are in the Eastern Conference. Mm-hmm. So, anybody else on here? Do you have a pick of who will win these next rounds and who's going to be the Eastern Conference champs?
Let's see. I'm just going to look at it.
Can I just say something real quick while people are like looking at brackets and stuff like that? Do y'all like petty? Because I love sports petty. The only thing I like close to as much as I love sports itself is sports petty. I don't know if y'all are into it. You want to hear something real quick?
Let's hear it.
So, the Tennessee Titans drafted Malik Willis, quarterback, and Ryan Tannehill was asked about mentoring him, and he's like, it's not my job to mentor him. And I just think that's hilarious. It's true, but I also think it's petty, and therefore I think it's funny. So I love it. So that was my little insert while people were pulling up their brackets. Yeah. So,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to. I think we were talking about the bracket.
Yeah. So Eastern Conference
now.
Mm-hmm. Well, so let's just go ahead. I mean, we have this graphic up for you guys. Let's just go ahead and take a look at what's going on. If you haven't been able to keep up with anything, I think it's no surprise that Phoenix made it out of the first round in the West. They're going up against the Mavericks.
3.
Yup, and they're up 1. Them against number 4 Dallas Mavs. I personally believe that Phoenix is going to go ahead and get that one. I don't think it's going to be a clean sweep. I think it's going to be a battle, but I do think Phoenix. I have Phoenix in my finals pick. So
they should get there. The only issue, Money McGhee, is because Luka can't do it by himself. Like they should have got their asses whooped like they did yesterday. Mm-hmm. Like it should go a 6, maybe I'll get 6-game series. But Luka needs other people to show up. Otherwise, it can be a sweep if that happens again.
I don't think it's a problem of Luka showing up. I think Luka needs to not show up. I think James Harden in Houston was the model for what happens when you have a heliocentric offense around a ball-dominant guard who doesn't allow other members to actually participate. And I think if Luka they went up 2-1 over the Jazz without Luka. Mm-hmm. You saw other people. You saw Jalen Brunson go off. You saw Kleba get involved, and so you had them playing a team game. Imagine that with basketball. They played a team game, and they went up 2-1. They struggled with Luka back in the lineup, and I think playing iso ball against a really strong defensive team in the Suns, I think this series will be over fairly quickly. And I think for as great as Luka is as a player, we will think of him as James Harden unless he learns to distribute the ball more, unless the coach, Jason Kidd, insists on running more sets and setting up more plays to get other people going. Because you can't have Luka get the ball, dribble down the court, hold the ball for almost the entire possession, then either drive and kick out last minute to somebody who hasn't been engaged in an offensive set for like 4.5 minutes, and then expect them to, against the clock, to hit like a difficult shot from a pass they weren't necessarily expecting. And so I think with Luka's current style of play, I think we will see that New Orleans gave the Suns a better series than what Dallas will give the Suns. And just I'm so proud of the New Orleans Pelicans. I was crying that last game. It was
You were proud of them? Really?
I was sobbing, and every time, I mean, when the coach started crying, I started sobbing. When Chris Paul and him embraced, I started sobbing. Like I was just crying the whole time. When Alvarado was going around showing people his bloody lip because Chris Paul, shouldered him, and of course the refs were like, he's not going to get that call. In a closeout game at that. And it was just like, I love this team so much. Mm-hmm. And I know we're talking about who's in the playoffs now and who's, exited in the first round. But I just want to add that I don't think that Zion Williamson is the missing piece to that team. I don't think that they were a William Zionson away. Mm-hmm. A Zion Williamson away from winning that series.
Right.
And, I just hope that I know he said he would sign the max. He couldn't sign it fast enough, and it's probably because you ain't played.
Mm-hmm. You hit the nail on the head. That's the only reason. Because otherwise, he would have nobody else trying to pick him up because he hasn't done enough. You're right.
So yeah. So I would. I think they need to try to trade. I think they need to not offer him the max. I think they need or do a sign and trade and get him out of there and get some pieces back. And then I could root for them as long as they're not playing my team. But just as an update for those who are also multitasking, Boston is up 29 over, 19. My bad. Sorry. I'm trying to math late. They're up 19 over Milwaukee.
60 right now. 77-60. It's in the third quarter, about 2:30 left to go. And our boy Jay Tatum, he's got 17 points, but Jaylen Brown is leading with 25. So this is looking like they might take this one home. And
to do so without Marcus Smart this game is a
one.
Yeah, and to do so without Marcus Smart, I think, is big for them. Yeah.
You know what? I will go ahead and give Marcus Smart his flowers right now because whenever he was playing at Oklahoma State, I believe it was, correct? That's where he went to school. He's always just been a dog. Like he is someone who's going to go out there and just bust his butt, give it his all. He's the one diving on. I feel like his little difference-making plays of just defensive, taking charges, just getting on the floor. He's a hustle player, and I really feel like his drive gets that team going. But of course, Tatum, Jason, he's unreal. I think the talk of people saying, like he might have just showed that he just passed KD in the rank. I think that was a very accurate statement. I mean, Jason Tatum is a star amongst stars.
I think that. I was just gonna say I think that's fair, but I think people were saying that as though KD was like the person he needed to take the torch from.
Right.
Like if the Bucks go to the finals and win, there's a better than average chance that Giannis would be MVP for that team, which means he would have 2 regular season MVPs, 2 championships, and then 2 finals MVPs, which in recent history has only been done by Michael Jordan and LeBron James, because Kobe never had 2 regular season MVPs. And then you have to go like to those, like 80s teams to find other people who have done it. And I think I don't know how we managed to sleep on Giannis, but I feel like we sleeping on Giannis with all this Jason Tatum hype. And even outside of this show, which I know default St. Louis, that's fine. But I think it's been even outside of like this show where people are ready to be like, well, he knocked KD off. And I'm like, so he knocked KD out of like 4th place? Like, I just don't understand what it means to knock KD. KD is still the best pure shooter in the game. It's ridiculous that like him shooting from almost anywhere on the floor looks like a free throw. His like just in terms of pure scoring, absolutely. But in terms of the complete player that Jason Tatum has shown that he is now that he has worked on his defense, I think still puts him in an upper echelon, but still leaves a lot of really great people ahead of him. So I think it's a little bit premature to say he's king of the ring right now.
Well, I don't think I don't think by any means they were trying to make it seem like KD was at the top of the top, because anyone who watches basketball knows that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, KD's shot is, smooth, but we all know Steph Curry is the best shooter to play this game. Like, period. He's proven it. His numbers proven it. Now that he's broken the record, I think for all-time threes. I mean, it that goes down to say. But I think the comparison with Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum comes from their style of play is very similar. Their body types are very similar, even though Jason Tatum this season came out looking like a monster. I don't know where all that muscle and that body came from, because, he came
season workout.
Yeah, I mean, he came into the league pretty, he's always been tall and he's always used his body well,
right.
But he put on that muscle and he's getting that grown man strength, and it's showing his game and like the way he's able to take contact and go finish. And I mean, we're only going to see Jason Tatum get better.
Think about this, because Jason, if he was still playing in college ball, he would be developing. We're just seeing it in the NBA, almost like other players. Think about his muscle and all that. He's only 22, 23?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's where you're supposed to be really, physically maturing yourself anyway. So he had it coming, I think, naturally. But when him fighting COVID, he even said his game last season wasn't the best, because after getting over COVID, he still wasn't right. And other people who not athletes will tell you that. So everybody had different side effects from COVID. And he said it affected his breathing, affected him working out, just a lot of underlying issues. And I think that it's like out of his body for real now. And he was able to get back to doing some great off-season training and working out. And now
I agree with most of what you said, except for one point. I don't think that he would have developed had he stayed in college, because he went to Duke. So
now you sound like
you expand.
My brother said that. He's like, what do players actually evolve to be to do anyway? I don't know. Only we can only speculate. But
speaking of Duke, Carolina,
let's look at Tatum at the beginning of the season. I said this on the last show. Remember, the media was talking about breaking up Tatum, Jaylen Brown, even Smart. It was just like they can't get it done. For the last 2 seasons, they try to throw, Kyrie left, Kemba came in, still couldn't get it together. They were ready to dismantle them at the beginning of the season. I'm glad they got a new coach, different voice, different way of doing things. And it takes time, and now you see the results.
Yeah.
So Tatum is definitely on his game. And as far as comparing him to KD, I think it's more of a rites of passage, passing the torch type thing with that talk. Because KD's been in the league for so long, Jason is finally saying he can claim ownership like this is his team.
Right.
And he's showing it now. Like, he is doing the damn thing. I'm really excited to see him. I'm proud of him. And the fact that, dealing with the whole when Kyrie left and the guy came, but that still wasn't matching up. That for a young player and to kind of get handled like, hey, this is your team now. And it's just like, wait, what the hell? He played through that. And again, the office exec changed, the coach changed, and he still persevered through that. I know sometimes we only look at what they're doing on the court, but that makes a big difference on the sideline and in the front office on how you can play too. Who the hell working with him, who's around him, who's assistant coaches helping him. So he's definitely, he got the league on notice for real. They ain't noticed before, he's here.
And Bunny, to your point, Lil J was not playing the way he was playing at the beginning of the season, the way he's playing now. His shot wasn't really falling. I don't think he was being as aggressive, until he had those couple of strings where he was having a couple back-to-back 50, not back-to-back, but a string of 50-point games he was piecing together. I feel like that's where he got his confidence built up, and I think we've only seen him skyrocket from there. And going back to that Milwaukee Bucks and Boston Celtics game, they just ended the third quarter. It's 83-66. The Celtics are up. Speaking of Giannis, he is leading the Bucks with 23 points, followed by Holiday with 15. And on the Celtics side, Jaylen Brown has 25, and Jason Tatum is after him with 19 points. Let's go ahead and take a look at that bracket again and talk about the lower side the top side of the East. We have the Heat and the 76ers going up against each other. Heat up 1. Joe, you want to lead us? What are you thinking about that matchup? He's like, don't talk to me about that.
And he's like, here we go.
Nah.
Let's do any mini money mo. That's okay. Go ahead.
I'll just pick who I think's gonna win, and I was gonna go Miami because one of my buddies loves Miami, and I'm rooting for them. But Mikala, you gotta know, basketball, college, it's not my thing.
Okay, say less.
I put my 2 cents in here and there. Everyone knows how I feel about Jason Tatum. But yeah, I love the guy. But other than that, I know a little bit here and there. But I'm gonna go Miami based off of it's kind of like a March Madness thing. I'm going because my buddy wants them to go.
Okay.
We'll go.
Miami's a good pick. Yeah, Miami's a great pick. I think they will end up facing Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference Final. Speaking of players whose game model each other, when you were talking about Mikala, when you were talking about Marcus Smart, he kind of reminds me of Jimmy Butler a little bit in terms of that person who plays like, I'm not the best at this, I'm not the best at this, I'm not the best at this, and not the best at this. So what? You gonna get all this energy for the whole game. So that's what I like about Marcus Smart's game. In terms of Jason Tatum, he's now my second favorite player out of St. Louis. After what Caleb Love and the Tar Heels did in the NCAA tournament, and he's coming back. So I just wanted to throw that in there. But yeah, and in terms of comparisons, so both of you were Bunny and Mikala absolutely on point about just not only the maturity of Jason Tatum's game and also his body. You can still holler even though you went to Duke, Jason. Just
God. I love the plug.
I can forgive.
Now we're talking about what I want to talk about with Jason Tatum. But we did this for like 10 minutes.
There you go. Look, we can put the past behind us. I will babysit your son, like all that. Right?
Oh wow!
Because he's cute. Love his son. He's cute.
Well,
I think because of the change in his game and the change in the body type, who most have reminded me of Katie's style of play so far in the playoffs is actually Brandon Ingram with the Pelicans. In terms of just being like tall for no reason, lanky for no reason, but still willing to go in the paint. Had a similar defensive game, just long arms everywhere. So I think that Brandon Ingram is also someone who elevated his stat. Nothing near what Jason Tatum has done in terms of elevating his status, particularly adding defense to his game. But I feel like Brandon Ingram kind of had his coming out party during these playoffs. I think the Sixers are done. I feel bad for Joel Embiid because he's another player that, like, if we're talking about who's king of the mountain right now, I mean, even if you're just talking about of teams that are left in the playoffs, not even teams that started in terms of Jokic, which I think you absolutely have to put in that conversation, regardless if you like his game. But they're out. But like, I think Joel Embiid is right up there with Giannis in terms of 1-2 for best players left in the tournament. But it just seems like if it can go wrong, it does. The Sixers and his career there. And I think with him getting hurt, which having, being a Clippers fan for the last decade and a half, I'll leave it up to Doc Rivers to do something stupid, like leave your top player in while up by 40 points in the fourth quarter.
Well, usually they're not up that long by the fourth quarter.
So I think that just absolutely crushed any chance that the Sixers had. I think Milwaukee's going to come out of this. I think the Heat's going to come out of their series. And I think we're going to see the Bucks try to defend their championship against the Golden State Warriors, because I think they're going to take it to 7 with the Suns. But ultimately, I think they're going to come out on top, and Chris Paul will become the Charles Barkley of this generation.
Don't do my boy like that. CP3, nope.
I love CP3, but he's the Charles Barkley of this generation.
No, he's not. No, he still has some playing left in him. Okay, number 2. CP3 and Booker is that backcourt. Last year, people thought, okay, they got that far because the Lakers weren't in it. This year, they are the truth. I'm just saying. I can see the matchup against the Warriors very good. That backcourt between the Splash Brothers and CP and Booker, hell of a series. The front court, I can see the Suns between Ayton and Crowder. I can see them being better than the Warriors. And then, of course, you can add Poole to the mix too. Like, yeah, he can do something when coming off the bench, but I still
don't do that. Don't do that to Poole.
That matchup would be
like he's like he's some negligible off the bench player. Like, no, don't do that to Poole. Not after.
It's not because he coming off the bench. He's a 6-man, and he does a great job of it. I mean, he could start on certain teams.
He just now started being the 6-man.
6-man or not, the point is how you become consistent and good in the playoffs and win series. You have to continue your scoring when your starters are on the bench. That's why
he was the leading scorer in that game against the Grizzlies.
Scoring doesn't happen. Then the teams come from behind and they beat them. And you're playing the same team game after game in the playoffs. So
he was the leading scorer in the first game. He was the leading scorer for the Warriors with 31 points in the first game.
Congratulations to him. But I'm talking about
he's been the leading scorer in the series. He was the leading scorer in the first series. He was the leading scorer in the first series.
I'm talking about the matchup. I said if it happens, Warriors Suns would be great, but the matchup is not. I don't see it being the same. I said because of the front court.
Who do you think is going to defend Poole to such a degree where he will be negligible, where you need to refer to him as him just, maybe like coming off the bench, like just very dismissive. Like the difference maker in that matchup would be Ayton, because as well as Draymond Green plays defense, he does not match up well with someone of Ayton's size in the paint. Other than that,
but that front court have that front court can make a difference.
Jordan Poole, huh?
I said that front court makes you different. That's what I was saying. The back courts, they're evenly matched. Now they're gonna do something a little different, their styles, but again, you will get scoring, you'll get defense from both sides, from Booker, CP, and the Splash Brothers. Now you said Draymond, yes, defense is good. Ayton, he may not get Draymond ish. I can see Draymond handling him, but then Crowder and Draymond, because they're going to sometimes have to switch up on defense. You're not going to keep your same. Depending how the game's going, if you're a good coach, which Monty is and Curry is, you're going to make adjustments and do what you got to do. You're not going to stick with the same way the whole time.
The people most likely to defend Poole would be Devin Booker and Cam Johnson, neither of which I think would shut him down where we need to be dismissive of him in that way. That's all I'm saying. You just was like, and your little friend Poole coming off the bench, and it's just like, don't do that. He was the leading scorer in the last series. He was the leading scorer in the first game.
I was doing the starter matchups, but I said Poole.
We don't know who's going to start.
Consistent scoring, and that's what will help you. Again, we'll just see. We're just doing speculation. We'll see.
Yeah, his scoring has been consistent, and Steve Kerr has used no fewer than 10 different starting lineups. So we don't know who's going to be in the starting lineup. I mean, this was the first time. The first game was the first time he put Gary Payton II in the starting lineup, and it was just because he wanted to try out a defensive matchup. The last game before that was the new death lineup that they did. He actually started with them instead of finishing with them. So we don't know that he's going to be coming off the bench. He very well may start if they start with their 3-guard lineup.
Got it. So I want to again thank everyone for tuning in. If you're on Facebook, make sure you leave your comments under the platform Sports Talk Show. And if you are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Click on that bell. And all the videos are archived on the Roku channel. And for all of our listeners from Hot 365 Radio, we will be on tomorrow. The broadcast will be on tomorrow, Wednesday night, for you to listen to. And also, Ladies' Night, as we are here, especially on a Tuesday night. Usually it's the first Wednesday of the month. And the Man Cave, make sure you tune into the fellas. They're on the last Wednesday of every month. And if it's not the first Wednesday or the last Wednesday, the regular platform Sports Talk Show is on Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. Oh, Money McGhee, you make that wine look so good. Can we get an NIL deal for you?
We started getting into it. I was like, let me go ahead. Now, I'm going to go ahead and leave my predictions here on the table. I think that it's going to be Miami and the Celtics, contrary to Annie's belief, only because I think the Celtics just are on. They just have that it about them right now. I do think that Milwaukee is the better team, but I don't think that they're going to show up. I think the Celtics just have that little spark underneath them. But we do have the Warriors and the Grizzlies coming up at 8:30. That's about in 20 minutes. We know that Golden State is up 1 already. But this Memphis Grizzlies team is not to be, taken lightly. They got Ja, who is just so dynamic on every end. They have some of the best offense by forcing turnovers and just getting rebounds and then going on the other end and finishing. They're so quick. I think their athleticism and their quickness is something that Golden State doesn't have, even though Golden State is a little bit more skilled all around, I would say. But let's do a round of predictions. Who do we think is going to take it tonight?
Warriors.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Warriors.
But I love the Grizzlies though. John Morant. Hey, Jobo, I know you know about LeBron. I know you know about Justin Tatum. Add John Morant to your list.
I see him all over Twitter, so
Man,
doing
the
something.
boy's bad, and he's going to be bad for years to come. So you make sure you put that to your list of NBA players that you know of.
Okay.
He's exciting.
I
I'm
think
definitely
that-
going to take a road trip to Memphis to see him play in person.
I think Memphis will take game 2. And I think the series will end in a gentleman's sweep, with tonight's game being the only game that they get. And I think the key to them remaining competitive is Jaren Jackson Jr. being able to stay on the floor, because he commits some dumb fouls. And they need him in the paint. And so if he gets in foul trouble early, then I reserve the right to change my prediction about how this game will go. But Mikala, I wanted to ask you about your Boston-Milwaukee prediction for the series. Oh, sorry. I'm also watching the game as we're doing this.
You're good.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, did she crack her back?
No. For those of you who tuned in late, I'm simultaneously watching that game and watching the hockey game. So if you see me making faces, it is not at the conversation. It is at something that is happening in one of these games.
Right.
Mikala, I wanted to ask if your impression of how the series goes would be different if Chris Middleton came back during this series, or do you think even with Chris Middleton, Boston would take the series over Milwaukee?
No, I think if they had Middleton, it would be a whole different ball game, just because of the physicality and the presence that he brings to the game. So I think if they had that piece, it might be a little different with the spark that the Bucks have. I think, and listen, I mean, I'm not counting them out by any means, because Giannis is top 2, and he may not be 2, to be quite honest. Like if in my opinion. So it could be up in the air, but I just feel like the Celtics just do have that momentum under them right now. I think they know that they are the underdogs, and they're not taking that lightly. Like, they have something to prove, and they're playing like it right now. So that's just why I say that. But then going back to this Golden State and Grizzlies game, I just wanted to mention what head coach Steve Kerr for the Warriors said. He said that it'll be the most physical game we play all year. So that's one reason why I think that the Warriors one of many reasons why I think the Warriors will take this game tonight, is because I think they're preparing for that physicality. But I do think that is the Grizzlies' advantage, is that they are coming out again with that underdog mentality, and they know that they can hit hard and maybe hit them enough times where it sets them back, and they don't, they just they get enough stops. They just get enough they have a chance. And Ja is holding the torch and leading his team. This man is one of the best leaders I have seen, not only just physically and in his game, but in his speech and the way he talks about his team. He speaks so highly of his teammates and gets his team behind him. And when they're going to war, they know they're going to war together, which is why I feel like the Grizzlies are so dangerous. Now, do I think they're going to win this series? Not really, but I'm not going to count them out.
Yeah, I don't think Ja and the other guy, I forgot his name, help me.
Jaren Jackson Jr.
They're gained any more experience, but they're going to make it a competitive and good games. But you just need more experience, because looking at the last game, it was like they tried to do deja vu for what Morant did against the T-Wolves. Last play, drive to the hole, game winner. The Warriors almost could have happened again, but it didn't. But I would actually have put that play into play. So I don't know if that was a coaching thing or Morant picked that. But anyway.
But the thing is that it was the exact same play, but like you were talking about in terms of experience versus youth, in the Timberwolves game, when they ran that same play, Anthony Edwards tried to undercut the pass, which gave Ja a clear look to the basket. This time he was defended by Klay Thompson, who before injury was arguably one of the best, defenders at his position and could credibly guard 1 through 4, right? Size kind of prevents him from defending 5, but he was highly regarded as maybe like the top 3-and-D guy in the league prior to his injury. And just in those 2 plays alone, you see the difference that experience versus youth can have in a series like this. But I did want to ask you all a question. So someone proposed an interesting theory that I'm kind of on board with because I'm okay with a certain level of violence. So since Draymond Green already has a flagrant 2, and once you get to 4 flagrant points, you then have to sit out a game. In the finals against the Cavaliers that they lost after that 79 win series, a lot of people point to Game 5 where Draymond got a flagrant foul that then led to his suspension for the following game, which the Cavaliers took and then ultimately went on to win the series. So I heard someone propose, we know Draymond is going to get is going to get at least 2 flagrant ones, if not a flagrant 2, between now and the NBA Finals. Did he just come out and intentionally try to get flagrant fouls? Because once you get to 4 and you miss a game, the points reset. So just kind of like get it out the way. So if the Grizzlies want to come out with all this energy and being physical, just punch somebody in the face, get a flagrant 2, sit out the first game at home, and then reset your points. And then we're not worried about it. So what do you think about it as a coaching strategy, encouraging Draymond to get his flagrants out of his system in this series so that he doesn't risk missing a game against Phoenix in the finals potentially, or in the Western Conference final, or in the NBA Finals? Are you with me? Are you down with a certain level of violence as a strategy?
No.
What? But I thought that was brilliant. If I was Kerr and Jaw starts going off, I would be like, Draymond, you just
take one for the team, no pun intended.
You gotta body slam him. You just gotta go out there and don't.
So he literally got to take one for the team. Literally,
do not be subtle. Walk up to the referee. Go, Steven. I need you to look over here. Stay right.
Oh my gosh!
I would do it in front of T. Morant.
A coaching strategy, and then I
would do it in front of T. Morant, and I would just be like, "Look what I'm doing to your son," and I would body slam him so I can get my 2 points. And give you suspension out in
they got to
series.
see each other again, not just this series, but a whole nother season from now. You know, people don't forget what you do to them. So, don't touch that star player like that. I don't think Draymond that crazy. Because if it ain't Ja coming for him, somebody else, but he don't want that smoke. I know Draymond is passionate, fiery, and he'll get up in your asses too. But he ain't the only one that's like that. I'm just saying. I don't think that's a coaching strategy. And I don't think it's a good one. I know you just want to thank way, but nah.
I just want to thank the doll for agreeing with me in the comments.
That's fine. Hey, we agree to get What you think?
Maybe he's crazy like a fox, and
he's passionate and he's sometimes can be hot-headed. But again, a coaching strategy. That's the initial question. Is that a good one? To me, no. But Money McGhee, what you think?
I think in the game, and especially when you get into playoffs, emotions take over. It goes to show, man, in playoffs, the game gets more physical, hands down. I mean, there's no putting it down. I don't think, I'm not against, look, okay, let me put this in a way. I don't need to make it seem like I'm a dirty player or I support dirty plays, because I absolutely do not. But I do feel like there are moments in the game where you have to make a statement with a physical play. And whether that's on a box out, I'm not saying, undercut somebody when they're going up or, do anything crazy that could get somebody hurt. But yeah, especially when it comes to playoffs, you got to let the other team know that you're there and you're not going to back down. Like, you got to show fearlessness at every single moment. So I'm not against a little, push here, a little get into your face. So Annie, I guess in a way I do agree.
But wait, so y'all consider those flagrants? Because my version of a flagrant she's thinking about is not that flagrant of a push here and if
I'm just saying it has to be a flagrant too.
Yeah, time move. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, I'm not saying, don't do no. I can't even use.
Come on, here, clean it up.
I can't use the word that I want to use. I'm not saying do anything, stupid or crazy or anything that is just unsportsmanlike. But at the end of the day, basketball is a physical sport, and you have to have a physical presence because it just shows that you're there and that you're ready. And usually, most times, the most physical team is putting in the most effort, and that's who's going to win. So that's just how I feel about that. I'm not against physical plays. Like I said, nothing stupid, nothing to hurt nobody. But if you got to go put a body on somebody, your elbow, whisper in the ear, you know you're there. You got to let them know you're there.
But they're doing it all game.
You feel me? Do you feel me? That's what he got to say. And then do something just flagrant. He doesn't have to hurt nobody, but just flagrant.
But okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's y'all version of the flagrant play? I want him.
He can walk up and backhand somebody. Just give him the old Princess Bride. Just like my name is Inigo Montoya, and then just bow.
No. I told y'all they're gonna see each other again, not just this series. It's gonna carry on to
Look,
next series.
I think I get what Annie's saying. She really is just like saying, like, do something crazy enough to get everybody's mind kind of like, what is going on? Or like, like kind of throw the team off a little bit. I think that's where Annie's going with it. And honestly, I don't know. I'm not against it. Like it's a strategy, like to get somebody's mental out of the game just enough. You know what I'm saying? Just enough to be like, okay, this team a little wild. Like they ain't playing today. I get it.
Zobo, what you think? That's for the physical play of purposely getting a flagrant, equivalent to purposely getting.
Well, now you guys are talking about like just for like fun and shits and giggles, but like not basketball.
As a coaching strategy, if you know that, given who Draymond Green is, right, it is very likely that he will get either 2 more flagrant ones between now and the NBA Finals, like through the rest of the entire playoffs, if not 1 more flagrant 2. And you don't want him missing a game either in the Western Conference Final or in the NBA Finals. So just as a strategy, would you be okay with him wilding out a little bit to get those points in this series? Because they've already demonstrated that the Warriors can win without him. So just get those points out your system. That's all I'm saying. Just get the points out your system in this series. What you think, Joe?
No, like that makes sense. But like you said, I think we can all agree that they're probably going to be, in the finals or at least the round before the finals. If I can compare it to like hockey, because like last night, the Wild Captain Spurgeon, purposely was trying to break one of our guys' ankles. I guarantee you'll see tomorrow night. You're going to see Bortuzzo or Shen try to make just let the Wild know, don't mess with our guys type thing, and I could definitely see something like that happening. I'm all for it as long as it's not stupid to where, you get a couple games like Spurgeon should have.
Right.
Speaking of, so of course, if Draymond does this intentionally and it gets out that he's like doing this on like as a strategy, there's going to be some furniture moving and bench clearing. What do y'all think of St. Louis Cardinals bullpen being too stupid to open a gate in order to participate in a fight when one of their players got hit by a Mets pitcher? The whole bullpen was stuck behind the gate because they could, between the 12 of them, couldn't figure out how to open it.
Giovanni
figured it out.
Jumping over that bench and Forrest Gumping into the
hop that wall. That was so entertaining and funny to me. I said, "This man, I ain't waiting for y'all. I got this." Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Right, that was hilarious.
But that's all I'm saying, Joe. Just like a hockey enforcer.
Yeah, I mean, I think every
games in the series, just some hard hip checks up against the wall.
And there's literally
from Draymond Green.
There's literally someone on every team getting paid to do something like that. Right now against your Penguins, Ryan Reeves, that's what he is. He's there to start stuff, get in your face, and piss you off. So, and that's why I said Robert Bortuzzo, possibly him, Braden Shen. He's good offensively, but he's also one of those guys that he's gonna stick up for you, and he's not afraid to drop the gloves. So that's why I kind of said them. But yeah, you need those types of guys.
You're on board.
I'm on board. I'm on board. And again, with the Warriors, we can all agree that they're going to go pretty deep. So why not just do it now and get it over with? Because like you said, they've won without them.
Well, Joe, I think that you were doing a great little segue into hockey. So how about we start
that.
NHL playoffs, the Blues?
Blues
Go ahead, give me your predictions and what you think the Blues are going to be doing against the Minnesota Wild.
It's so funny because I've been saying this for like the last week or so. It's sad because the Blues have been so good for about a month now, dominant. And them and the Wild, they've exactly been the exact same team for the last month or so, just constantly winning. And I can see the Blues losing in this round, or I can see them making a deep run into the playoffs. They're just one of those teams right now. But last night they seemed to really get underneath the Wild skin, obviously, like I was saying with Spurgeon. And they just got to keep doing. They just got to keep doing that. Obviously, stay out of the penalty box. There was 12 penalties all together last night, which is terrible. That should just let the guys play. We want to watch fast skating players checking up against the boards. Nice passing, and then the refs kept blowing the whistle. But hopefully tomorrow will be a little cleaner of a game. And the Blues just got to keep doing what they did last night: kill the penalties and score on the power play.
Well, let me ask you this, Jobo. Why is it, like you just said, the Blues have been winning for the last month plus? So why are they the underdogs against the Wild and their record's better?
Oh,
well, the Wilds, they're better than us 5-on-5. We'll say that. So if the Wild can stay out of the penalty box, then they have. It's I don't know how to explain it. Like I feel like our team has more depth, but the Wild probably has some better talent. But with how the Blues have been playing the last month, you got Rob Tom and Tarasenko, Boot, Shen, David Perron, and this is all with Iru, who's been non-existent for like the last 2 months. So if you can get going, then look out. And both of our goaltenders have been good down the stretch as well. Husso, his first NHL playoff start last night, and he shut out a team in their barn. So.
Yeah, yesterday wasn't a great day for hockey playoffs. There were 2 shutouts. 2 teams scored 5. The only thing that kept there from being a third shutout was a goal late to end that game 5-1. There was only 1 close game of the 4 yesterday. But I also think that the Blues should be mad because I feel like the structure of the NHL playoffs screwed them, and they should not be playing the Wild in the first round. But because of how the NHL does their playoff brackets, that's how it ended up. But speaking of playoff brackets, but yeah, I think it should be a good series from what I crammed for the test today in terms of what the Blues are up to.
So give us your picks since the bracket is up here. Go ahead and give us your picks.
Who are you talking to?
Annie.
Okay.
Oh, so Penguins are going to win it all. That's all I need to know.
Dog. Help her. I said it.
No, I think the Panthers are really strong and have a chance to win it all this year. I hope at least one Canadian team finally makes it. That would be good for their country and their nation. Go ahead. There's some real deep hockey analysis here. But one thing I don't know about the playoffs, right? So with the NBA playoffs and with players not being vaccinated, a lot was made of Kyrie Irving. Cool. But what was talked about less was that if the Raptors remained in the series, that there were going to be players who wouldn't be able to travel to away games to U.S. players who wouldn't be able to travel to Toronto for their home games if the matchups had gone up a certain way, because there are players on other teams who aren't vaccinated, not just Kyrie Irving, and whether or not that would have come up. Is that the case in the NHL? Like, do they have vaccination rules that may prevent some star U.S. players from playing in some of those games in Calgary and against the Maple Leafs and those sorts of things?
I haven't heard of anything NHL-wise. I know I'm pretty positive.
Country, I thought, not the NHL or the NBA, or it was a country.
No, the NHL has all of that on lock. I think the NHL is the one league that has the highest vaccination rate, all of that. They were not playing around whatsoever.
I'm positive everyone in the NHL is vaccinated. I'm pretty positive.
It's like a 99.2%, and
so they don't got to worry about that. Baseball.
And Canada was going the hardest. That was the most annoying thing about
the country.
And even a point, like playing now where games where they were, shutting it down. Like if they felt like it was an issue, it was getting shut down. So I think they're past that at this point, thank God, because everyone's so tired of games getting canceled. Everyone's so tired of these players who have done what they were supposed to do by getting double, vaccinated, boosted. They've done what they're supposed to do, and they're still having to sit out games whenever they might have it, but they aren't even really getting symptoms. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother topic, but whatever. I'm going to take it back to the Blues, Joe, because I want to hear your perspective on this. I feel like we had, and Annie, you mentioned it. You were like, why is the Wild predicted to win over the Blues? I think this was a hard one for anyone to kind of predict who was going to win, because the Blues and the Wild, like Joe said, have been coming in full force. Both of them have had pretty similar success coming into the playoffs, and we've seen that. So it's like two trains coming in and meeting each other. It's like, okay, which train is going to have the most momentum going? And Joe, you were just talking about Jordan Kyrou, who we all depend on, who we all love. He's so good, but he's just not being productive. But I really think the person to keep an eye on who could really make the difference is Ryan O'Reilly. What do you think?
Yeah, last night he scored, and I think that's like his fifth goal in 3 games, to end the year and then going into the first game of the playoffs. And, like whenever he scored last night, I put in our little chat, ROR baby, let's go. And I think he could, he's our captain. We saw what he did for us in 2019. Obviously he won the Conn Smythe. He's one of the main reasons why we won that cup in 2019. So, when him and DP57 are going, look out, right now they're doing it. But everyone looks good, honestly, with the exception, like I said, of Kyrou. Hopefully he gets things going. I think Chief brought him down to the 4th line, maybe even the 3rd line. I can't remember. But, Ryan O'Reilly is definitely one of those big guys to look out for. And Vladimir Tarasenko, when we had the 16, 17-game point streak going, Tarasenko scoring constantly, points after points, and he was the 3rd star of the month, I think, for April. So he was going into this hot as well.
Yeah, I agree. So, what is your prediction for next game then?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot of dirty pushing into the boards, and like I said, look out for someone to try to put a message out there for the Wild, because again, you can't do what Spurgeon did last night. You're down 4-0 with minutes left in the 3rd, and as a captain, you can't do that. So I think the Blues are going to go out there and try to start, make a message, and but I think they're going to be all right. Husso's got good numbers against the Wild. We've had good numbers against the Wild all year. I think we might have lost 1 game against them. So even if we do lose, you take 1 away, go back home, and Friday night in St. Louis is going to be crazy.
And you know what? Can I tell you guys what I'm so happy about with this whole Blues team right now? I am so happy that Ville Husso is getting his moment and in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? He is someone who has really stepped in as a goalie and has performed time and time again. And I think for him to get that recognition, and I really do give Craig Berube that credit for recognizing that and letting him have his moment to shine.
Yeah, I thought it was sad that it was kind of a topic to talk about in town. Who are you going to start game 1? Is it going to be Binnington or is it going to be Husso? And even though I did say that Binnington, he was good down the stretch, Husso's that guy that helped you turn your season around when you guys are struggling and losing against terrible teams in the league. He's the guy that helps you get there. So you got to ride with the hot hand, And you saw it last night, though, after the Blues won. Binnington was super excited for him. So maybe this year, like in 2019, Jake Allen, he was he was the guy in the background helping Bennington. So maybe Bennington will be that for Huso this year.
Yeah. I love to see that, honestly. And then
So
overall dynamic, Joe, I want to get your take. We saw game one. How do you feel like the Blues are flowing right now?
They're looking good. Like I said, the passing last night was awesome. They just all look like they're on the same page. Robert Thomas, we lost him in the finals in 2019. But now, like, he's been on another level lately. He's probably one of the best puck handlers in the league and passers in the league. He just knows where everyone's at all times. So, I just think the guys look good. It was nice having Shen back because he sat out the last couple games. So everyone seems healthy. They all look like they're on the same page. And we all know Chiefs got him going, in the locker room. He knows what he's doing, obviously. They've done this before. So we got a lot of experience, even with Nick Leddy. Nick Leddy's won a cup with the Blackhawks. So you got him here. You got Krug. He's never won a cup, but he's been to plenty of playoffs with the Boston Bruins, So even losing some of the guys that you won a cup with, you brought in more experience. So they look good. Like I said, I think it could go either way. I think it could be a deep run, or it could be, a short playoffs for us. But I do think it's the last 2 years in the playoffs. You had the COVID season, and then the year like last year, you didn't have David Perron, and you went up against the Avalanche. This year,
Right.
you got everyone healthy, and you're good to go.
cool. Let me ask you this: when, however you're going to put it, the Blues win against the Wild, they will either face the Avalanche or the Predators, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So who would they match up better against?
I would like to see them go against the Avalanche.
I want them to beat the Avalanche.
Yeah.
I think we go up better against the Predators, if that makes sense.
Look, my competitive stuff, I'm like, I want them to get the Avalanche because they deserve it. Like, they deserve it.
I can't stand the Avalanche. But, I think they'd go up better against the Preds. But, shoot, I'd be shocked if the Preds even win one game against the Avalanche, honestly. So them and the Panthers, they're just the two best teams right there. So that's who everyone's expecting to go deep, obviously.
Right.
Okay. Well, we shall see. But LGB, I think the Blues can pull it off against the Wild in 6 games. I was going to say 5, but the Wild is going to come back and make a statement. I'm sorry. I hope they can pull it off, but I see them coming back like, no, y'all thought it was going to be a cakewalk.
You said it best, Bunny. When the Blues win, when the Blues advance, we're going to speak that into the atmosphere and into it all. Real question is, who's going to catch a game? Who's going to a playoff game? Because it's
possible to take it, sure.
to get a ticket.
No, it's too much money. Nope.
As I said, you sponsor tickets, sign me up. Otherwise, I just gotta be a spectator on the couch.
Is showing up for these playoff games, man. It's like the bidding wars of bidding wars to get a ticket to go to a game these days.
But think about this. I mean, last year the people were out. COVID was still out there, but the restrictions were dying down some. But you still have people hesitant. Now it's like you're basically making up for 2 years worth of not 100% like you used to be. So everybody is all in playoff, whether NHL, NBA, it don't matter. Everybody is all in pre-COVID type playoff atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hockey fans are just a different breed, so it gets a little crazy there. So, but I wish we'd go to another one.
Yep. So we'll see what we do tomorrow, guys. Stay tuned. Real quickly, any of y'all keep up with boxing? Yeah, I heard about the Tyson Fury match. Did y'all?
Nope. I just know from what you put in our little chat.
Well, believe it or not, shout out to one of my production assistants / husband. Because I was getting the topics and thinking of stuff. He was told me to talk about that because of Tyson Fury's background. Well, if you don't keep up with boxing, Fury just had a fight. He is the heavyweight champion of the world. Now, I'm a little gray area because there are different things in boxing. You have a IBO, you have a W something. It's like different organizations, or I don't know how you say it, or it's a little different. It's not like one league, like you got an MLB, NHL, NBA. Boxing has their own this person has one, this person has one. But Fury is the heavyweight champion of the world. And if you don't have to keep up with boxing and realize, we hear about a good fight coming on, everybody wants to, get pay-per-view, do watch parties. You haven't had that in heavyweight, like excitement in a while. You hear about the welterweight, middleweight, but not heavyweight. So anyway, he won. This was a fight that was destined to happen. It took a couple of years. Little things went on. But regarding Fury, what made this interesting, he has a different background. And it's kind of cultural, too. He's Irish, I want to say. Born in Ireland, raised in Britain. And they're, I guess in so many words, gypsies. Like, again, that's why it's a cultural thing. So I don't want to misspeak or anything because I was reading about it. And I'm like, okay. So he was raised in Ireland and his family they weren't homeless or poor, but again, considered gypsies. So it's like you here, you there.
Anyway. Everywhere, girl, traveling.
Yes, literally to say traveling. So
up and at them. Go
but just look bad upon over there in the UK or Britain, Ireland. Mm-hmm. They're all different countries. Look bad upon to me. I'm like, well, people move around here all the time, but whatever. That's why I said it's a cultural thing, but I'm not being insensitive because, in certain parts of the country, you may have somebody that's like, no, we don't like gypsies or traveling people. But anyway, his background wasn't typical. However, he overcome the odds, married, got kids. This fight came up. He finally won. It was 2 years in the making. He had some issues going on too. When I say issues, he had mental health issues, alcoholism. Okay. Like I said, he overcame stuff typical that you hear about regular people, but not a boxer.
I'm trying to learn. Talk to me. Let me know what's up.
I'm trying to give y'all the cliff notes because again, I heard about the fight, but I didn't know it was so big because of his background.
Right.
But, anyway, the fact that he is the heavyweight champion of the world, overcame this background with alcoholism, drug use, and mental illness. Yeah, it's a big deal. So shout out to him. But is another person, I forgot his name, that's trying to come for his title already. It seemed like in boxing, I guess it's kind of like with other national championships, when somebody wins, the person who lost or who almost lost is like, I'm gonna come get you right away. Like you can't even enjoy your belt or enjoy your title within a day. Somebody's like, I'm coming to get you for it. Like, dang, I can't glow for her 24 hours.
Right. Well, but Kelsey Sadal, he's commenting, he's chiming in. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, sir. Don't mean to, but he's saying he is the undisputed champion. So I don't think he thinks it matters who's coming in.
Oh, Wilder. I'm sorry. That's who he defeated. Fury defeated Wilder. And he's coming back for him already. He's ready to come, like, give me that belt back.
Right. So that's going to be a good match or a good fight. We'll see what's going on with that.
I hope so.
Look, Andy, and then Kelsey also noticed that you're going crazy over in your box. So is that because you're watching the games and you see what's going on, or are you talking about these fights? Like, what's got your attention over there?
Definitely not boxing. No, I'm watching the hockey game. And the Rangers player basically laid on top of DeSmith and allowed the Rangers to get a goal, which, so now I'm ready to Draymond Green fight somebody in this game because now the Rangers and Pittsburgh is challenging it right now. So I'm just waiting for that to come in. Celtics won, Warriors Grizzlies about to start. And yeah, so I'm just watching the.
You must be really far behind me because it's still 33 right now with a minute 45 left.
Look at Kelsey. Kelsey, thank you for the knowledge. Okay, I was just trying to get your comment out here.
It's funny when you say Kelsey. We call him Sadal. We call him his last name Sadal.
Look, we love you and all. We love that you're tuning in. We know, but I was just trying to get some conversation around your comment. Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right.
It's all love.
So shout out to Sadal. He's part of the Man Cave crew. So yeah, you coming for him, Money McGhee? You coming for Sadal? I was like, wow.
What is it at the end or every Thursday, end of the month?
The last
Lunch
Wednesday.
Man Cave. Yes, ma'am. 7 p.m. Central Time.
Shout
Yeah.
out to the man cave.
Yeah.
Talk about some
Right.
Kyrie.
Well, let's get to what. Yeah, I'm about to say. Let's get to something I know Annie's about to go in on.
I'll read the comment and I quote.
Kyrie Irving took to Twitter where he accused media corporations of degrading Black and Indigenous community heroes. Annie, do you want to?
the exact quote, Annie, or you already know it?
No, I don't have anything to say about Kyrie Irving. Y'all get that man too much oxygen. Kyrie Irving lives rent free in a lot of people's heads, and mine ain't one of them. I don't track Kyrie like that.
Okay, so
I love Kyrie. I don't care what anybody says. And you know what? To an extent, okay, I'll read what he said. He said, "When I see my name or my brother's sisters' names getting spun through the media, I refer to all of my research about who they are. Their job is to control public perception, all while profiting off discussing, discrediting, and disrespecting people's lives for entertainment." He continued with, "They thrive off of it and then sell it back to us by having a hand-selected person or group of people spark controversy about them for the world to see." Now, obviously, people feel indifferent about Kyrie Irving right now. They weren't with him whenever he was refusing to get vaccinated because they feel like he was abandoning his team. And I would throw Stephen A. Smith out there, who was extremely passionate about saying how Kyrie Irving abandoned his team. Well, maybe people just have a difference of opinions. It's how I feel. You know,
that's true, but it don't sell. If you had difference of opinion and it's kept quiet, it's not going to sell and have people tune in. So you have.
But that's what Kyrie is calling out. That is what Kyrie is calling out, because if he just had a difference, why did it have to be broadcasted the way it did? Why did he?
Because he was being hypocritical.
Who was being Stephen A. or Kyrie was being hypocritical?
Kyrie was being hypocritical. Kyrie Irving draws a lot of attention to himself anyway,
right?
Even without this,
right.
But I don't have a problem with him making the choice that he made. It's just that there were two parts in which he was being just hypocritical about it, and it was just like, this isn't sending the message that you think it's sending, or it was just working against what he was saying was the reason why he wasn't getting the vaccine. But otherwise, he just described the media. People get to craft a narrative and then they get to sell it.
Right, because it's all entertainment.
I don't feel like that was like
entertainment.
And I feel like that's what it all draws back to. And we're going back to the whole vaccination thing, but I don't even think that's really the point of what's being made right now, because he was speaking more so specifically on this playoff series against the Celtics, where him and KD were getting dragged because these are two all-star top players.
Correct.
Who are predicted to be carrying this team blown by the Celtics and going on into the playoffs. And that's not what happened. But we can tie it back to whenever, he was getting dragged in the media for his stance on vaccination and for not being able to play, but still getting. And my whole thing is like, look, I honestly kind of wish we could get Stephen A. on here, because I love Stephen A. I've watched him. He's someone who I have, looked up to in my career for being, so outspoken and charismatic. But there are times where he just goes overboard, and he went overboard with Kyrie. The obsession he had with trying to drag this man for having an opinion that was different from his or the NBA owners or anyone in that organization was mind-boggling to me. And the fact that they try to put it up, they're like, oh, he doesn't want to show up to work. He's a professional at not showing up to work. It's funny, don't get me wrong, because Kyrie has gotten a lot of money and has missed a lot of games. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, if Kyrie could play, he would have played. They didn't let him play.
But he also made the decision to not do what he needed to do to play was very explicit, and he chose not to do it. The third thing, because you just reminded me of this, the third thing that was hypocritical about it was that immediately after the loss, he attributed part of the sweep to the Celtics having gelled. And he was like, they've just really come together as a team. They just really gelled. And we haven't had a chance to do that. And the reason why people lost their shit was because you are the reason why everybody was not here. So wait.
So
He's saying that the reason why they were better than us is because they had all their people.
Yeah,
but
he's part of it at all.
Missing.
Because if you want to go there,
just attributed it to something else.
Wait. We gotta go there. Then you're gonna get on Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons got traded up there. Ben Simmons supposedly
then throw him in there too. But I'm saying because Ben Simmons didn't go to a press conference.
He wasn't the only one that didn't show up either.
No, but here's the thing: Ben Simmons didn't go to a press conference and said the reason why they won is because all their players were present. So you can't.
That's true, Sadal. That's true.
So that's why Ben Simmons is a whole nother.
Right, but I'm saying because he wasn't the only one.
In terms of personal choices versus team impact, he's a whole other discussion. The thing about Kyrie is, so in terms of his individual decision, I don't care. There were 2 points where he was very hypocritical, and it's like, this is running counter to your point, and I don't think that's what you're trying to do. But the other thing is that I would say if his team thinks that he quit on them, then that's between him and his team. And again, that's not on me. I don't have to play with Kyrie Irving. To me, the reason why the media, when I saw the media afterwards get on him was 2 things. Is that one, he, I done smudged my lipstick all over my hands and my face when I saw that fall. Okay. He got fucked up. I'm sorry, he got messed up.
Go ahead.
Two things was one, when he said the reason why their team swept them was because they had team chemistry because everybody was there, and it's like, but bruh, you weren't here. The other thing that was problematic was how do you miss this amount of this? The other thing was for you to have missed this much of the season. Again, due to a choice that you made, whether you agree with that choice or not, you still made a choice not to be here. You could say he had reasons to make his choice. You could say he shouldn't have had to make that choice. But the thing that is clear is that he had a choice to make and he made it. And that had an impact. And then the second thing that you say at the end of your press conference, immediately after being swept out the finals, is you want to talk about your contract extension. And I would be like, bro, you owe me some games before we talk about paying you for future games. So that was the 2 things that stood out as to why people went in to Draymond Green, right? So Kyrie has a reputation around these things. So people probably went in extra hard in the paint on him on reputation alone. But he also said some ridiculous stuff that deserved some level of scrutiny.
Well, let's go back to what Sadal said based on what you said. Stephen A., he does do things over the top because of self-promotion. Stephen A. just take an opportunity to get the spotlight on him. That's why he goes overboard, self-promotion. Exactly.
And it's why his name is all entertainment and not others.
It's all entertainment. Yeah, now he went in hard on Kyrie, not just recently when he had this thing against the media. He did this a few months ago. But we all know it wasn't Kyrie that didn't want to play over his choice of not being vaccinated. The state of New York City said he could. So that's not on him. That's not it on the NBA.
That is on him. If I tell you have to do A,
I'm saying that's the case you can say about other players.
You say I'm not going to do A. That is a choice that you made. If I say if you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friends, and you don't get with my friends, then you can't be like, well, then you made the choice not to be with me. No, I made it very clear what you had to do in order to be with me. Now, if you made the choice not to do that, then that's fine. But don't act like that wasn't your choice. You had autonomy.
But you're saying it like
you got to make a grown adult choice. You got to make a grown adult choice.
That choice evolved to where he could not play. He didn't say
because he made a choice that kept him from playing. That they told him to keep him from playing
because he didn't feel it. You know.
All right.
We only got so much minutes left, literally, so we can't go back and forth.
That just doesn't make any sense.
You gotta take.
Because you're punching him because he's saying like I want to play, but the state.
I'm not punching anything. What I'm saying is, if someone tells you, here are the requirements, and you say, I'm not willing to do that, whether it's unprincipled, whether that violates my beliefs about this, whether I just don't want to, whether I'm standing up for every man, whatever his reasons were, that is fine. He should be allowed to make that choice, and no one should. And it's not that no one should criticize him. If his players want to criticize him, that's fine. But that's not for us to criticize him for making that choice. That does not mean that he didn't make that choice. You can't say the law says if I steal this, then I'm going to go to jail. Well, they're the ones keeping me from stealing. No, you are still making a choice to follow rules or not. The rules are not doing it for you. He made an autonomous choice.
So technically, how did he break the rules? Because the rules, I'm sorry,
he didn't break the rules.
He
just decided not to do the thing.
I need boxes with me and Annie right now. Because we got to see eye to eye.
It's no commercial break, so let's go.
I need to see eye to eye here. I understand what you're saying. You're saying at the end of the day, like there was a choice to be made, and you're saying Kyrie chose to make the choice that would made him ineligible to play. But with that being said, they still have teams coming in from out of state with players who are not vaccinated, who are still able to play in the same building. This man walked into the same.
That's ridiculous.
This man walked into the same building where he's not allowed to play to watch a game. I mean,
that's ridiculous.
Stupidity here.
That was stupid. I mean, hypocritical, all that. But it doesn't change the fact that he was told what he would need to do in order to play. And those rules were stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But
you were the same girl who just sat here and went in on the NCAA for being so suppressive and doing all this. Well, isn't that what the NBA is doing now?
Absolutely. It was ridiculous. It was hypocritical. Those rules don't make any sense. It was a usurping of private property because the private stadium said that Kyrie was allowed to enter, and they filed for the special exemption under the New York City law, which would allow them to be recognized as a private entity that could enforce or not enforce their own rules as long as they were not receiving federal funding, which was the only enforceable national mandate around vaccinations. It was ridiculous. The situation was ridiculous and hypocritical, and people doing things for political reasons and for money.
But that's why we're not going to drag Kyrie. And we're not going to allow Stephen A. to drag Kyrie. We're not going to allow the media to start doing this because he is right. Because he is 100% correct. Kyrie Irving is right on this stance. The media takes what they want to and they run with it. And unfortunately, he has been on the negatively receiving end of it as of recently because he's been more outspoken about his views on things. But he is not the only NBA player. He's not the only professional athlete who has not wanted to get vaccinated or who has made personal decisions. And it's really sad that they are exploiting him, especially. And I'm honestly a little bit sad that they're
not exploiting him. He said when he made his decision, they're not exploiting him. He said when he made his decision that he was doing this in solidarity with people who were losing their jobs because of not being vaccinated. He explicitly said he explicitly said that he wanted to be the mouthpiece for those people. So when you say, I would like to be the spokesperson for this decision, you can't then get mad that people come at you with cameras and microphones. Because you said, other people didn't get vaccinated. That's why there was talk about if the Raptors had made it out of their first series, that there were players on other Eastern Conference teams who would not be able to play in their games in Toronto because they were not vaccinated, right? But we do not know all of their names because they did not ask us at the start of a pandemic to say, I am doing this for the everyman, and I want to be the spokesperson for that.
I give you that.
Millionaire who has money to sit out and not have a job.
Right.
You doing this for people who lost their jobs because they made the choice not to do something that was set as a requirement for their job. Those people are losing their homes. Those people are losing Their
livelihood.
cars, those people are experiencing financial ruin because of the consequence of that decision.
Right.
He has millions. He is not the everyman, but what he said was, I want to be the spokesperson for this. You don't say, I want to be the spokesperson for this, and then be mad when people want you to speak on it. That's what I have a problem with. Yes, their rules in NYC was fakakta. The government usurping what a private entity decided to do was fakakta. The whole league's policies, which went back and forth and being allowed to be determined by different entities and not the same entity across things, all of that is fakakta.
Gotcha.
Space, tab, new paragraph. Kyrie Irving made a decision.
And new paragraph, ladies, good conversation. Sorry we have to wrap that part up because we're going to start in St. Louis baseball real quickly before we go. But this was a great conversation. Everybody want to hear some more? They got to come in next Wednesday. June, first Wednesday of the month for another ladies' night. Let me slide in our promo real quickly. Jobo, go ahead and talk Cardinals and I can do the promo.
What Cardinals you want to talk about?
I know because
they're not hitting right now. They're not hitting right now. They're losing right now. 0 runs on the board. So
down 2-0 against the Royals, but hey, it's what it is. We'll bounce back.
They only had 1 run last night, so I'm interested to see like hitting in this series, like how it's really gonna go. You know, so, I mean, it's okay as long as you get that one. That's all you need to win the game, but. Both teams really right now are not really showing up to the plate. So I guess we'll have to see what's going on with that.
I've got one more promo before you close us out. Since Blues tickets are hard to come by, you should spend your next 2 Saturdays at the St. Louis Slam home games. Saturdays at 7 p.m. There's one coming up this Saturday on the 21st. The next Saturday, the 14th, sorry. The 14th and the 21st are going to be home games this month. They're at 7 o'clock and they're at St. Mary's High School. So if you can see the Blues, or in addition to seeing the Blues, please support women's professional tackle football in St. Louis, your 4-time national champions, the St. Louis Slam.
All right. Good job.
Can I do one more before we get out of here too?
Go ahead,
everybody. The St. Louis Surge season is cranking up, baby. We're about to have our it's about to be season 10 for us, and we're going to do a season opening party. It's at Neiman Marcus. I can put it's going to be really upscale, really exclusive. So you not only see the ladies on the court, you're going to see them in their heels, looking beautiful, and just get their personality outside of basketball. So also look out for the Surge, and then also shout out to our women's professional football team here.
Absolutely. If you love Ladies Night on the Platform Sports Talk Show, then please follow women's professional sports in St. Louis. Follow the St. Louis Slam, follow the St. Louis Surge, and support more women's sports happening in the Lou.
I like to hear that. Good job, ladies. Everyone, thank you for tuning in tonight for another wonderful edition for the Ladies' Night here on the Platform Sports Talk Show. We are having the show archived on the Roku channel, and also for everyone tuning in on Hot 365 Radio. This show will be available tomorrow, Wednesday night, for you to listen to. And everyone that is on Facebook, make sure you subscribe to us. YouTube, subscribe to the Platform Sports Talk Show. And make sure you click on that bell. Why should they click on that bell, Joe? What happens when they click on that bell? Anytime we go live,
you will be notified.
Woohoo! Great job, Money McGhee, Joe, Annie. Thank you, Sadal and Coach Turner for tuning in. They said, great job, ladies. They said, y'all rock. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a wonderful night. Wonderful night, and happy Mother's Day.
And a wonderful life. And a wonderful life.
We out of this piece, y'all.